I think what I'm going to do is heat this spring up and bend it 90 degrees on a little radius. And I'll have it push against the receiver right here. And I'll get rid of that button. I'll be able to flatten all this out and be able to take some of this off here. So I'll just hit pause and get after it. Alright, I'm back. I don't know if you guys heard that. The dog was making a bunch of noise in the background. Naturally. That's how it goes every time I try to film something. That was slick. Excuse me. Alright, so we got all our parts out. I messed my hand up doing some dirt work at the rental property here the other day. So my whole hand's numb. It's kind of weird. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this apart. I'm going to get this spring out of here, and I'll get this. This is your ejector. I'm going to get that pulled out, and like I said, I'm going to heat this up and bend it right around 90 degrees. So I'll get this action out of the vise here. And this is that button we're going to be able to lose. I know it's not much weight, but everything really adds up. So another thing I'll do is I'll take this down, make it a little thinner here, and then since this spring is just going to butt up to the receiver here, I think it'll look a little better. So alright, so don't tell anybody, but I just clamped that right in the soft vice jaws here. It's soft steel, it's still steel, but so here's how you get this out. And these sometimes will break, and since I'm taking this on safari, I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off, and then you put a couple of cuts here, and then you put a little small coil spring in, and that gives it its spring, and you lose the chance of breaking that little spring off, which is part of the ejector. They just cut it, folded it up, and heat treated it and made it that way. So anyway, that's a different video, but so I got this off, and I think what I'm going to do is just put it right back in and take the screw I found on the floor. There we go. Alright, now what I'm going to do is put a little thin piece of metal behind there that'll bend real easily. And I'll clamp it like this. And then I'll heat that up, and I'll bend this down 90 degrees like I said. And then I'll have to reheat treat that spring, which isn't a big deal. I'm just going to quench it in oil, and anyway, we'll get going on here. So years ago, I got a bunch of this material. It's not on camera, is what it is. I got a bunch of this material, and it's from a trophy shop. I was talking to the guy and told him that would work for Shim stock or something, and he said, here, take as much as you want. He was just throwing it away. He didn't even scrap it. So anyway, and the reason I put this in there is it's gonna, oh boy, it's ridiculous, this dead hand. The reason I'm gonna put that in there is it's going to give a little slack here for the okay, we got it. So when that bends around, it's not gonna be too tight on that screw there. So I'll go ahead and heat that and bend it. Try to get that on camera. I'm gonna shut this light off behind me so maybe you guys can see how hot that gets. But Anyway, that's the next step. Alright fellas, I'm back. I got my light turned off behind me here. I've got my shim stock underneath, which is, like I said, going to give me some room for that screw when I get this bent. It's going to be loud if you want to turn your TVs or devices down or whatever you're watching on. I don't really have any way to control that. This is ATF here. That's what I'll be quenching in. I'll try to do this without burning myself. We'll see what happens, so I'll get after it here. Wish this was up. I might move this a little here. It's not really even hot yet. Good. So when you're heating something, I don't know if you could see how I couldn't get any heat down. When you're heating a part like this, we really only want to heat this. So I'm going to start down below it. You know, heat rises, and that's going to heat the part I'm after here. The part of the part. But we're not worried about bluing, so everything's getting re-blued. See how I got a little off there? Not a big deal, just work with your eyes open. That's 90 degrees there. Maybe not quite. That'll be fine. Nice radius. That'll stink the shop up. Probably set off the fire alarm. All right. Now, alright, that's just sitting there. I'm not clamped. So now what I can do is start grinding this off here, this extra flat. I don't know how well you can see that. So I will I'll go do some grinding and I'll be back. I'm going to do that off camera. It's just going to be too much with noise and everything. So I'll do that while this is cooling down, and I'll be back in a second. Looks like one of those fancy smoked drinks you get. I don't get it. All right. Take the numb hand and check and see if it's cool, which it is. So that's how that went. It's still springy, so that's good. All right, so that'll also get cut off, but I don't know how far yet. So we'll get that other thing ground down, and we'll be back. So just a minute ago, I said I was going to cut this off just straight like this. I picked it up and noticed that I need to follow this radius here. So if you're doing your own at home, you don't need to grind as much as I thought. And we'll want this to just kind of gently sweep on down here. So that's what I'll do. Now I know I've said this about 236 times on this channel, but I'm a carpenter. I've never found a piece of scrap wood I haven't been able to use. So They were good for clamping things, and that just happened to have a U-notch. That's for a rifle rack I did a while back. So I'm going to just try to file that down, and hopefully that works. If file skates across the top, I guess we'll be grinding. We will see directly. We will not chalk that file. Here we go. I don't know if you guys have seen me chalk a file. It really helps keep the crap out of it. Really helps down the road when you go to finish the thing. Okay, that's fileable. Still thinking about maybe doing something with this original trigger, just to show you guys that you can use a military trigger. You don't have to use a Timney. I don't know. I think a lot of my audience is younger fellas, and maybe that would help. You know, give a young guy the confidence to get out there and get after it and build something. I don't know, we'll see. How's that looking for you guys? Can you even see it? I might make it a little better. You can see how much I need to cut off that. You always have so much time to think when you're doing this stuff. It's kind of nice. Like some people think it's relaxing to mow grass. I hate mowing grass, but I don't mind filing. That's one thing I never did mind doing. A lot of guys just wanted to grind everything, and you end up making messes of things, and it's too fast to mess up. Too easy to mess up. I mean, happens pretty fast. One thing I kind of wished I'd have done, I guess I still could with the power of Google here, but I wish I'd have weighed this action before I started to see how much weight I took off of it. That'd be kind of interesting to me. You know, because like that little steel button and a little bit of that spring and stuff like that, you know, it'll kind of add up, I think. Anyway. Notice I'm not dragging that file back. 2 reasons. It dulls the file pretty quickly. And at, you know, $9 to $12 or whatever, these things aren't really cheap. And also it drags material back, and it impregnates it into that. So then you have to file that out a little further. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little... No, you can't see it. Anyway, there's a little imperfection, a little grind or something here. I'm going to try to just evenly take that down to that point, and then I'll start radiusing over here. So okay, I got to the bottom of it, or as close as I'm going to get, I guess. And So now I'll just start rolling that forward here. I was talking with my buddy the other day. He was talking about 1022s. He loves 1022s. That's his thing. And that's cool. That's what you're into. I've got one. But he was talking about doing all the gunsmithing to it. And then he kind of said, well, it's not really gunsmithing. You're just replacing parts. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a great place to start. But this stuff, to me, is a lot funner because you're using your hands and you're building, and no two are going to be the same, and it's also a little less expensive. I mean, he's got to buy everything for that 1022. Same with ARs. 1911s are that way now. You just buy everything you need. You guys see what I'm doing? Not anymore. There you go. Get a view of my chunky bench and coffee cup. This is the... See that? That's what I got to take down now. And see how I'm keeping this thickness nice and even here? Well, as even as I can anyway. So, here we go. Whoop! Good thing we're re-bluing, right? Alright, now we're really getting somewhere. And take this off a little bit. Totally dragging that file back. I just told you guys not to. But what I have here is just a fine little nub where, as I went across, it just left a little high spot, so I'm just taking it down. So I've not told anybody about my YouTube. Just my wife, mom and dad, my buddy Scott, got a deer hunt on, and my uncle Jeff, maybe one other person. I know I told somebody else about it, but anyway, I kind of wanted all this to happen kind of naturally. People find me and stuff. I didn't want to have a bunch of videos out there where I was just doing what all my friends wanted me to work on. I wanted to work on my stuff. And so just the other day, somebody liked Indian Creek, and I checked it was the Instagram page. And I looked, and it's a guy I knew from school. He used to try to date a girl my brother was dating while he was dating her. And he's kind of a ding dong, but he's a good guy. Just kind of goofy. I guess we're all kind of goofy. So that all looks good. Take one or two more cleanup passes here. Alright, I don't know what I'm going to do here, but I'm going to stop at this point because, you know, if you take it off, you sure can't put it back on. I may run a bead on there with the TIG welder, to fill in that little cut. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm going to have to fill that hole where that button went in anyway. So maybe while I'm welding, I'll put a little bit on there. Okay, I thought I wasn't recording for some reason. So now what I'm going to do is take my dilly whopper here apart. Technical term. There we go. Life's easier with a clean bench, guys. Okay, so we got our little screw out. And here's my little piece of shim stock I put in. If you can see that okay. So hopefully, let me put this back. Yes, okay. Now see how I have some room in there? If you can see that or not. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, we're going to cut that down, and you can see, I believe you can see, I need to cut it a little bit of an angle so it'll set in there. I may even see where this lands and cut a straight slot in there. We'll see what happens. Good thing I'm not building to a print, right? Okay, after getting this on here, as you can see right here, I'm going to need to take a little off the back of this. That's okay. That's why we test fit things as we go. But see those little nubs right there? That will definitely interfere with the inside radius of the spring. So we'll take a little bit off, and I think I will go ahead and make that notch. I don't know if you can hear the dog snoring. That's funny. I'll definitely cut that back with a hacksaw here. I'll spare you all the details, but I also want to show the work as well. So I'll probably just kind of cut in and out a little bit on it. Y'all know how to run a hacksaw, I'm sure. Okay, so when we're doing this, the key is you don't want to slip and go over this that you just radiused. And you want to get down. See this here? We don't want to lose that. So what I'm going to do, this won't matter. This will be covered in the stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down to this point and have a level bottom with the plane of this here. We want these and these to be parallel, or at least as parallel as possible. Okay. All right, that's looking pretty good. I was in gunsmithing school, a guy that would spend half a day to set up a machine to cut that and wait for a certain cutter in the mail or whatever. He used to call me a hack for just grabbing a tool and going for it. You know, I don't think my way or his way is necessarily right or wrong, but I sure didn't have to wait. If you're cutting 300 of them, then, you know, by all means. But I don't know why you'd want to set up all that crap just for one cut. It's very easy to get off on that when you're even filing, so keep an eye on it. Got a little ledge there. Keep trying to take that down. Well, fellas, that is looking great. As you can see, now I have taken that back to the point where it's even with the radius here. I think I'll have to take it a little bit further back because that's where the spring needs to live. That's okay. We'll just keep working on it. And this is now wide enough where that fits in there nicely. So we're making some headway. I know it's getting kind of long-winded, but I guess if you want to see this stuff, you'll stick around. Everybody bails out in the first 30 seconds if they don't want to see it anyway, I suppose. Hey, welcome back. I saved you a few minutes of cutting and cussing and grinding and stuff here, but as you can see, I got the back of the spring cut down, and there, dead hand. It's starting to go. I had that screw started off camera here, and it all went well. I ended up a little further ahead than I thought I'd be. I wish I'd left a little material back here, but since I took it down and nice and square and parallel, it won't hurt anything. And I think I might just radius it up and out, but I could TIG weld that too. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to take a little bit more off of the spring, or maybe I'll take it off here. Either way, I want it to set just a little bit deeper, and I think that I'll be able to get the screw put in before we hit the 30-minute mark. Well, there you have it. I think I'm done. I think I will, when I go to finish my polishing, I will radius this up and out a little bit. I'll have to fill this hole, and I think I'm gonna come across here and TIG that, fill in this little line here, but not too big a deal. I think it turned out good. I think it closer resembles a Mauser now. So anyway, one thing on these Mausers, that screw is pointed. It sure helps it align. Like I mentioned, my hands are a little funky and I can't get that down in there, but it goes. I can push that in and see. I just can't physically turn the screwdriver and push at the same time. Kind of weird. But anyway, there's a view from the back. See how I was able to keep that up, that radius around there. And I may take just a little bit more off, but I'll wait till I get this done, and we'll go from there. So that's another part of this project done. For the first part anyway. I'm going to take the top off of this and cut that back like they do on the commercials. I'll do that in a little different video, but anyway, moving along, the old Enfield 375 H&H project. So we'll see you in the next one, folks. Get out there and build something.